Story 1. Am I the a-hole for expecting my girlfriend to pay me back after dinner? So, my girlfriend and I have been together for a little over 2 months now. We've done many activities together, but this time my girl suggested we have an actually nice restaurant dinner for the first time. I specifically told her that a nice but reasonably affordable place would be best. I gave her a rough estimate max amount, since I just started working after quite a while right before meeting her. Since it would be her birthday, she told me she wanted to go someplace quite expensive, but told me not to worry, she had it covered. Long story short, we ended up going to what is by far the most expensive restaurant I've ever been to or seen, and at the end of the meal, she made us split the bill. I told her that was totally okay and to just Venmo/pay me the money later. I legitimately wasn't upset or anything and said we could square up at home. She went a little quiet, and when we got home, she showered and went straight to bed without saying much. The next day, she gave me the money she owed dollars in cash, but left it on a note that said, "Since I guess we nickel and dime each other now, here's your money. Happy birthday, me." Now she's giving me the cold shoulder. I tried to talk to her about it, but she just kept brushing me off, saying I'm being a cheap jerk. I honestly wasn't trying to be a jerk. I just genuinely had a budget and was super clear about that. She's never been upset about me using a budget before this. I was very specific that I could only afford a certain amount and even told her that before dinner. She claimed that by telling me she had it covered, she only meant that we'd split the bill, otherwise she'd expect me to fully pay. Am I the a-hole here? If I am going out with some friends and they want to go someplace that I'm like, oh guys, you know what? I'll have to let you go without me. I don't think I can afford that. And they say, don't worry, bud, I've got you covered. And then are like, all right, now pay your half. I'd be like, that's not what I've got it covered means. If you're covering someone, you're covering it. You were clear. You stated what your budget is and that you did not want to go over that. And then she brought you to a place where your half went over that. And after saying that she would cover it, I'm sorry, she's in the wrong here. You made yourself pretty clear. I guess you could have asked the follow-up question well, what do you mean by you've got it covered? But that feels like you're not trusting her with what is a pretty clear statement. So, yeah, no, you're not the a-hole, and she needs to learn how to communicate better and also respect your budget. Story 2. My date got me a gift, so I got him fired from his job. Hi, I'm a 22-year-old female who at the time of this story was just out of a relationship. I started seeing this guy, 24 male, who we'll call Frank for the story. We went to a bar and we clicked very well. He would then hang out at my place almost 3 times a week where things were amazing. About a month into our friendship/relationship, we were thinking about getting serious. Frank constantly love-bombed me, messaged me every day about how much he loved me, and etc. He even came over one day with a gift for me that was in a unique designed glittery gift bag that had crystals, a hoodie, little necklaces, charms, and baked goods from a store in the mall. We officially started dating, and it was great for a week. Frank sent me a long text message saying, "Oh, I love you so much," and how he would love me forever. Going to bed, I thought nothing of it, just happy someone loved me and expressed it. The next morning, I woke up to another paragraph text, thinking it was another love message. I was wrong. He started off the text with, "I don't love you," and wrote about how he was sleeping with his ex and me at the same time, and that he didn't love her and lied about loving me. I was devastated. Normally, I wouldn't have cared that much, but after being love-bombed for a month by Frank, it stung. Immediately after reading this, I got suspicious. Some backstory. For the duration of talking to him, he talked horrible about his ex, whom Frank still lived with, saying that she was abusive, trashy, etc. So hearing him say he was sleeping with her stung a lot, but also set off some red flags. I went to work that day upset, but I was getting over it quickly. Until Frank's ex messaged me on Instagram, who we'll call Stacy. Stacy told me how he was love-bombing her and begging for her back, and that she wanted to make sure me and him weren't a thing. Out of respect, I told Stacy what he had said to me, considering she was brought up in the text anyways, and I sent her screenshots of every single time he trash-talked her. And I'm talking at least 50 screenshots of paragraphs of him trash-talking her. He was trying to get sympathy from me for him to cover over and staying the night. Stacy apologized for his actions and decided to not date him. Eventually, me and her grew to become good friends, and I realized Frank had lied about everything. Stacy was the sweetest, most timid person I've ever met. Now, remember the gift he had given me? I ended up rearranging my room and finding the bag with everything Frank gave me. Looking at the items, something seemed off, so I texted Stacy. I asked her if she happened to be missing anything, any crystals or hoodies. She had a hippie aesthetic, so her owning crystals was a given. Stacy texted me back that she was in fact missing 3 crystals, and she described the ones that Frank had gifted me exactly. The hoodie, also hers. The charms, hers. The only thing he didn't steal from her to give me were the baked goods from his job. Stacy and Frank both worked at the mall in our city, and I decided to stop by and return everything he had stolen and given to me. He was off that day, but I was told when she got home and he saw the gaudy bag he put everything in, he knew we met up and knew what he did. He apparently started crying and begging for her to forgive him on his knees, which I found hilarious. Fast forward a week later, Stacy tells me he went back to doing the same thing with other girls. Apparently he had done this 5 times to different girls, getting into full committed relationships and cheating. Angry, I remembered something Frank had told me about how he would steal baked goods to bring home and that if his boss found out, he'd be peed. So I naturally called the store where he worked at, told him everything he was doing at work along with his cheating and 2-timing, and all other secrets he told me about what he did at work that could get him fired. Since then, I never see him at the bakery, and when I asked him about it, they pretend he never existed. Even my new best friend Stacy said he moved out since he couldn't afford rent, so where he is now is a mystery. Boy, this went from being a story about a guy who needs to learn to just, pump the brakes a little bit and not overwhelm their partner, and this is coming from someone who does subconsciously sometimes love bomb a bit and has learned to reel that stuff back. It's not healthy, guys. It puts way too much pressure on things. It's putting them on a pedestal, which can make people uncomfortable. Don't do that. It's really unhealthy. And I thought that's all this story was going to be about. But no, it's about the sleaziest sleaze, who's the mayor of Sleaze Town, cheating and stealing and just lying to women constantly. And he's getting what he deserves, which is losing a job that he was stealing from and losing people in his life because he's lying and mistreating them. Just learn to do better, buddy. Seriously. Be truthful, communicate, and just do some self-introspection and stuff. I don't know. See a therapist, but your life can get better, but the old you needs to not be a part of that life. New you, please. Story 3. I, 19 female, think my boyfriend, 25 male, is not totally over his ex. My boyfriend and I met at the university 1 year ago. When we first started talking, he was sad because of a breakup he had 2 months ago, September 2022. Then, 1 month after, he told me that all of his feelings for her were gone. We were getting more and more closer, and he told me that he fell madly in love with me and that this is the first time he feels this way towards someone, and that he realized he wasn't really in love with his ex. We started dating in April 2023. He was very loving and sweet towards me, so I believed him when he said I was the love of his life. He didn't want to talk about his ex and was sometimes getting angry when I tried talking about her. He also didn't want to see her at all in social media or in real life. Then, in June, while we were in his car, we saw her with a new guy. He gets angry and said, I wonder if she lets him slap her butt since she never let me do it. I was a bit stunned by what he just said in front of me, and he said, but he's blonde just like me, with a weird smile. I talked to him about that, and he said he wasn't jealous. He was just feeling betrayed because she told him that she won't have a boyfriend after a while, and that it was just an ego problem. I left this slide, but then in August, I saw that she was at the top of his Instagram research, so I asked him if he was stalking her. He said no, and blocked her immediately after. I also let this slide, but still thought it was weird. Then this November, 2 days ago, so 1 year after their breakup and 9 months we're in a relationship, I went to see his ex's Instagram account and saw that he unblocked her account and liked 2 of her new pictures. We live together, so now I started to cry and confronted him about that. At first, I just asked him if he was stalking her again, and he acted confused while saying no. But then I told him about the pictures, and the new version was that he just checked her profile twice and that he was drunk and didn't remember at all liking her photos. He told me it was because he saw her father 1 month ago who wanted to talk to him but refused, and that he watched her profile by curiosity in the same way we check at old friends' profile to see what they became over time, and that he was going to tell me. But then after he told me it was because he was feeling guilty towards me because he was less sweet to me and was starting fights with me over nothing lately because of stress, so he liked her pictures for me to see and to leave him for a better life, but was still scared I saw because he loves me and didn't want to lose me. It's nonsense. Nothing sticks together. He deleted Instagram and told me he was ready to do anything for me to excuse him, but doesn't want me to text her because he doesn't want to get involved with her. I'm feeling sad because I love him. He's the only person I'm close with. I don't know what to do. I don't want to break up with him because, as I said, I love him very much, but at the same time it looks like he still has something for her. Should I text his ex-girlfriend to ask if something more happened? I mean, my advice was going to be that you should absolutely break up with this person because he's clearly not over her. And here's the thing, even if you don't want to actually get back together with someone, but you're still constantly talking about them and ruminating on them and angry about stuff that they did, you're not over them. Getting over someone doesn't just mean like, I don't want to date them anymore. It means that they shouldn't have this kind of controlling influence over your life. If you're still just stuck on the things that they did and just, I can't believe them. Bet she lets him slap her butt. Blah, 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 blah. Like, then you're not over them. And you need to get over that crap because it is poison to your current relationship. And yeah, for this person sticking with them because you don't know other people and stuff, go meet other people. You'll have plenty of time when you're away from this person because he sounds kind of untrustworthy. He's lying a lot, and that's not great. So just get on out there, meet better people. There are lots of them. Story 4. Today I effed up by sending the absolute wrong song to my university teacher. So this happened a few years ago, but ever since I've been watching Smosh Reddit stories on YouTube, I've been thinking about posting this here because it's a pretty good one. A few years ago, I was doing my bachelor's for becoming an English as a second language teacher. One of the classes you had to take was called Pedagogy for Young Children. The gist of it was how to properly teach English, but for a very young crowd who had zero knowledge of English. We had a project in this class which required us to come up with a fun way to teach the seasons and related vocabulary to young kids. This was a team project, and each teammate had to find a different game or activity to teach to young kids. Example, memory game, Simon Says, etc. We also had to film ourselves teaching the activity, and our teammates would pretend to be young children. Since I'm a musician, I thought I'd make up a song about the seasons. I had a blast doing it, and was pretty proud of myself because I was the only one in the class doing a song. After I had finished the lyrics and recorded the song, my teammates and I proceeded to film our mini lessons. The teacher also wanted us to send her a copy of the activity, so for me, I needed a separate recording of the song. I didn't really have an original name for the song, so when I named the file on my laptop, I just put The Fun Song. I go on the class's online portal and send an email with the song file attached to it. I didn't think anything else of it and went on with my studies. That is, until I got an email from my teacher later in the week. Now, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was along the lines of, "Dear OP, I'm glad this is your happy song, but I would appreciate if you could send me your real song." I get confused at this because I'm convinced I sent her the right song. I go and check the email I sent her and realize I sent her a song file named The Happy Song. I got slightly confused because I was sure I had named the file The Fun Song. I have a terrible memory and ADHD. I figure I inadvertently sent her a different file that had a name so close that I wasn't paying attention when selecting it from my desktop. So I opened the file I had sent her and played the song. Not even 3 seconds after playing the file, I almost have a heart attack and I'm completely and utterly mortified. Before I reveal the name of the song, I need to explain how I managed to F this up this bad. The song in question is an a cappella song with a very fun and inappropriate title. I had previously discovered this song about a year before the incident, and I found it just goddamn hilarious. I'd wanted to send this song to some of my friends so they could hear it, but I had changed the name of the song in the file because the title of the song doesn't come up until 30 seconds into the song as a punchline, and the listening of the song is even more hilarious when you don't know what the title is. So I keep the secrecy of the punchline. I had renamed it The Happy Song. That is when I realized that when I had selected the song file to join in my email, both songs had appeared right next to each other, and I didn't select the right one because I had forgotten about that song and just blindly assumed I selected the right one. Yes, I really suck at paying attention. I highly recommend you all listen to this song, but here it is. I had accidentally sent my teacher the song, My Enormous Penis. I'm pretty sure I remember becoming literally lightheaded when I realized what I had actually sent her. I thought I was going to be severely reprimanded for this. I quickly sent an email back with the correct song and told my teacher to not open the file at all cost. I had actually started to consider if the teacher had not really opened the file, even though I kinda knew she had if she was sending me an email back. I had class the next day, so I went in ready to apologize my butt off. To my greatest delight, my teacher had a great sense of humor. She was a young teacher who was just starting off. She told me she had indeed opened the song file and found the song so hilarious that she made her fiancé listen to it with her 5 times in a row in their living room, with the sound blasting on all speakers. She reassured me I wasn't in trouble, but that my only consequence would be that she gets to tell this anecdote to her future students in future classes. I obliged, because that was the least worst thing that could have happened out of this. I got laughed at by all my teammates real hard, and the story started spreading to the other students in the same bachelor's class as me. I was then known as the penis song guy for the rest of my university days, and to my knowledge, I am now an anecdote being told by a teacher to hundreds of other students, all because of a stupid F-up when sending an email. First off, I knew it. I knew the moment that they said that, it's an a cappella song and the punchline's 30 seconds in. I absolutely knew it was Enormous Penis. By the way, the song is, I believe the band is called Da Vinci's Notebook. I first heard it on Bob and Tom on the radio back when I think I was in 18 in high school or something. So it's an older song. It's wonderful. Whenever life gets you down, leaves you wearing a frown. I'm not going to do it all because I don't know if I'll get copyright struck by them or whatever, but go listen to it, and it's much better when they sing it, I promise you. It's such a good song. I take a look at my enormous penis, and my troubles start melting away. Story 5. I left a dirt stain on a man's white Nikes because he wouldn't move his feet on a flight. I was flying home from a work trip on AA. Now, on this flight, a man sat next to me. He wasn't super tall, about average in height. He needed to go to the bathroom, so I got up, let him out, and got up again to let him in. As I sat back down, my leg hit him. I looked down to see his leg about halfway into my aisle, leaving me with about 1/3 of the space I had. I'm thinking he's going to move, and he's got plenty of space because he doesn't have a bag under his seat, but he keeps it there. I'm sitting on the side saddle in my seat at this point. I look at him, then at his leg, then back at him. He blatantly stares at me, then pulls out his phone and just starts playing on it. So what I do is lift my foot and place it over his foot, setting the dirty sole of my Converse on what looks like new white Nikes. Fabric ones, too, not leather. He immediately whips his head up at me, and I follow his example, put out my tablet, and start reading. He pulled his foot away and had a nasty attitude the whole plane ride, but I got my space back. Are flights not uncomfortable enough for this person? We're already being crammed in. They've already been taking away the seat space, so we're just crunched tighter and tighter together in every conceivable way so that airlines can bleed us of every little penny that they can. It's such an unpleasant experience. Everything about air travel is unpleasant. The going through the security, the waiting, the flying, if eventually you take off and stuff. crammed together, breathing the recirculated air around all these other people. Why do some people have to make it worse? Don't do that, because eventually, as a society, we will raise up and we will destroy you. We will get rid of all of you, and we will all be slightly more comfortable for it. Story 6. Girlfriend of 4 years just told me that she wants to sleep with strangers. Me and my girlfriend of 4 years, she's 19, I'm 18, are very close. We know basically everything about each other. We both went to the same schools and are currently in the same college. However, one night we were talking together and we started to get on the topic of kinks and intimate stuff that we were into. Me and my girlfriend have a pretty healthy relationship and sleep together quite often, so we wanted to get a better understanding of each other. While we were talking about this, my girlfriend kept bringing up the topic of wanting to sleep with other strangers. She brought up a couple examples that she found hot, such as if she got stuck on the side of the road and having a stranger help her and then return the favor to the guy by doing what? She also talked about people breaking into her house and doing what to her. She also expressed a lot of interest in strangers forcefully sleeping with her. Lastly, and the one that stuck with me the most, is when she talked about how she would like to go to a bar and find some stranger to talk with and buy her drinks and then eventually go back to his place to sleep with him. After hearing all of this, we got into a little argument, not even, maybe like a little dispute or something, which lasted for 5 minutes before we started to scroll on Instagram together. She went to her messages, and I saw that she sent a male thirst trap account a message of which she said how she would do anything for him and how she would love to be effed by him. Of course, there was no reply or anything since the guy had a couple 100,000 of followers, but after I saw that, I just ignored it and went on Instagram together. After that night, I felt a lot more insecure about myself and felt a little sad and angry at my girlfriend. Is that normal? I've had this on my mind for a couple of weeks, and I can't get over the fact that one of my girlfriend's big, intimate desires is to sleep with random strangers. We still talk to each other and see each other every day, but I still can't stop thinking about what she said that night. So 19 and 18, you've been together for 4 years, so you started dating when you were 15 and 14. So you're probably each other's first serious relationship. You have not had major experiences outside of that relationship, maybe an earlier boyfriend or girlfriend that I guarantee wasn't as serious, but also almost certainly not physically intimate. You've only been physically intimate with each other before you could even start to figure out what you're interested in. There's nothing wrong with what she's interested in. She's allowed to have those kinks, whatever you want to call them. That's fine, and she's expressing that to you because she's still growing and figuring out about herself. She's 19. She's still at a time in her life when she's figuring all this stuff out, just like you probably are. And if you're sharing that together and it's not compatible, then that might be an issue. You might not be compatible in those regards, and that's okay. Now, it's not saying that you couldn't, find out, comfortable middle grounds that she would be happy with, maybe through role play or something like that. Maybe through having certain openness in relationship where she could explore that if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, that's okay, but it's a conversation you need to have. But you're so young and you haven't had enough experiences, so I think it's understandable that she'd feel this way, and that's just part of getting older and growing up. Most relationships that start at 14 and 15, 99.9% of those will never last, so it's not a bad thing, all right? That doesn't have to be bad, but yeah, you just need to talk about it more and figure out how important it is. I don't know. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.